the dark waters of the Atlantic Ocean, towering waves crashing against jagged cliffs, ships disappearing into thick fog, and on the horizon, black sails emerging from the mist. For the people living along Ireland's western coast in the 16th century, this sight meant only one thing: danger. Because behind those black sails sailed one of the most feared naval leaders of the age. But this leader was nothing like the pirates people imagined. She was not a bearded sea wolf. She was not a heavily armored knight. She was a woman. Her name was Gráinne Mhaol. Some called her a pirate. Some called her a rebel. Some called her an outlaw. But among her own people she was known by another name: the Queen of the Sea. In a world ruled by men, she built her own fleet, shattered the belief that women brought bad luck aboard ships, commanded powerful castles, won battles, challenged empires, and eventually met one of the most powerful rulers of her time, Queen Elizabeth I of England, on equal terms. This is not the story of an ordinary pirate. This is the story of a woman who chased freedom. The story of a warrior who never learned the meaning of fear. This is the story of history's most famous female pirate, Gráinne Mhaol. Around the year 1530, a baby girl was born in County Mayo on Ireland's rugged western coast. It was one of the harshest landscapes in Europe. The winds never stopped blowing. The waves relentlessly battered the cliffs. Here the sea was not simply a means of transportation. It was life itself. Gráinne was born into the O'Malley clan, a family renowned for generations of maritime trade. They owned ships. They fished the Atlantic. And from time to time, they also practiced piracy. The livelihood of countless people in the region depended on them. From an early age, Gráinne proved she was unlike other children. She had little interest in dolls or games. She was fascinated by ships. She loved listening to sailors' stories. She was drawn to storms, towering waves, and the endless sea. Whenever her father sailed away, she would stand on the shore for hours, watching the ships disappear beyond the horizon. She believed that one day she would sail aboard one of them. But there was one problem. She was a girl, and in those days, girls were not expected to become sailors. When her father prepared for a long trading voyage, Gráinne begged to go with him. He refused. Ships were for men. The sea belonged to men. Adventure belonged to men. Gráinne refused to accept that answer. According to legend, she took a sword and cut off her long hair after being told it would cause problems aboard the ship. Then she stood before her father once again. Her determination astonished everyone. From that day on, she earned the Irish nickname Gráinne Mhaol, meaning Grace the Bald. What began as a teasing nickname soon became a symbol of unwavering determination. Even as a child, Grace was challenging the rules of the world around her. As she grew older, she spent more and more time at sea. She learned how to read the wind. She mastered the ocean currents. She learned to navigate by the stars. She could tell what cargo a ship carried simply by observing it from a distance. She could predict approaching storms from the sound of the waves. But she learned far more than sailing. She learned how to understand people. She learned leadership. She learned command. She discovered what it meant to be a captain. At sea, mistakes could cost lives. Discipline was everything. Grace understood this lesson at a remarkably young age. By the time she reached adulthood, she was more experienced than many male sailors. She was no longer simply a sailor. She was a born leader. Ireland, during that era, was far from peaceful. Clans constantly fought one another. Wars erupted over land and power. Betrayal had become a part of everyday life. Grace entered this violent world while still young. She learned to wield weapons. She mastered the sword. She learned how to fight. Most importantly, she learned how to survive. Life was a constant struggle, and Grace never feared struggle. Over time, people realized she possessed more than courage. She was exceptionally intelligent. Before every battle, she carefully studied her enemies. She searched for their weaknesses, then she struck. These qualities would eventually make her one of Ireland's most remarkable leaders. Grace later married Donald O'Flaherty, a powerful warrior and clan leader. Their marriage was far more than a love story. It united two influential families. Together they expanded their power throughout Western Ireland. During this period, Grace gained authority not only at sea, but also on land. She governed castles. She commanded soldiers. She controlled important trade routes. But happiness did not last. Donald was killed during a conflict. Her enemies believed Grace would finally become vulnerable. They were wrong. Instead of retreating, she grew even stronger. After her husband's death, she took command herself. Many men were outraged. The idea of a woman leading a clan was considered unacceptable. Grace simply didn't care. She had no interest in other people's opinions. She cared only about her goals. As the years passed, her fleet continued to grow. She acquired more ships. She recruited more sailors. She established control over additional harbors. She was no longer merely a clan leader. She had become a true naval power. Along Ireland's western coast, almost no ship could sail without her permission. Merchant vessels paid tolls for safe passage. Those who refused took a tremendous risk. Because Grace's warships could emerge from the fog at any moment, sailors told stories about her everywhere. Some believed she was as dangerous as the devil himself. Others regarded her as a hero. But everyone agreed on one thing. Grace O'Malley was feared. Many merchants lay awake at night, wondering when her fleet might appear. No one ever knew. One moment, the sea was empty. The next, black sails emerged from the mist. And by then, it was already too late. Even today, historians continue to debate Grace's legacy. Was she truly a pirate? Or was she a leader defending her people? According to English records, she was a pirate. To the Irish, she was a heroine. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Yes, she seized ships. Yes, she confiscated valuable cargo. But she also protected her people. She defended her homeland. She resisted English domination. For that reason, many view her not as a criminal, but as a freedom fighter. Meanwhile, England was tightening its grip over Ireland. English soldiers occupied more territory. New taxes were imposed. The authority of local chieftains steadily declined. Grace refused to accept it. To her, freedom was worth everything. Conflict with the English became inevitable. Her ships were seized. Members of her family were imprisoned. Her lands were threatened. Yet she never surrendered. She answered every attack. She resisted every attempt to break her. For years she remained one of the English administration's greatest problems. Stopping Grace O'Malley proved far more difficult than anyone expected. Not only because she was powerful, but because her own people stood behind her. One of the most famous legends surrounding Grace concerns the birth of one of her children. According to the story, she gave birth during a sea voyage. Shortly afterward, pirates attacked her ship. Grace rose from her bed, picked up her weapon, and joined the battle. Whether every detail is true remains uncertain, but the story reveals how people saw her. To them, Grace was no ordinary woman. She had become a legend. By now, Grace was growing older, yet she still refused to give up. English pressure continued to increase. Her family continued to suffer. So she made a decision that would become one of history's most extraordinary diplomatic moments. She would meet Queen Elizabeth I of England herself. It seemed almost impossible. A pirate queen meeting one of the most powerful monarchs in Europe. Few believed it could happen. But Grace had never believed in the word impossible. After a long journey, she finally arrived at the royal court. Two remarkable women stood face to face. One ruled England, the other ruled the western seas of Ireland. According to tradition, Grace refused to kneel before Elizabeth. She believed herself to be the equal of any ruler. Their conversation was conducted in Latin, since neither woman spoke the other's native language. After hours of discussion, Grace succeeded in securing several important concessions. The meeting remains one of the most extraordinary diplomatic encounters in history. As Grace aged, she appeared less frequently at sea, but her name continued to live on. Stories of her adventures spread throughout Ireland. Children grew up hearing tales of her courage. Sailors admired her fearlessness. Warriors respected her leadership. It is believed that Grace O'Malley died around the year 1603. Yet even her death could not end her legend. Some people continue to live long after they are gone. Grace O'Malley was one of them. Today, more than 4 centuries have passed. Yet, she has never been forgotten. Statues have been erected in her honor. Books have been written about her life. Documentaries have explored her story. Songs have celebrated her legacy. To the people of Ireland, she remains one of the greatest symbols of freedom, because Grace was never simply a pirate. She was a leader, a warrior, a brilliant strategist, a mother, a sailor, and above all, a woman who wrote her own destiny. Even today, the waves of the Atlantic continue to crash against Ireland's rugged shores. The wind still echoes through the ruins of ancient castles. The fog still rolls across the sea. And perhaps, somewhere within that mist, in the depths of our imagination, a black-sailed ship is still sailing toward the horizon. At its bow stands a proud and fearless woman, unshaken, determined, free. Her name is Grace O'Malley, the Queen of the Sea. A woman history could never forget. A legendary pirate who proved to the world that the old superstition, women bring bad luck aboard ships, was nothing more than a myth. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Everything is on record.